Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Let's start right here.
Hey, all game, right?
Get the ball here, D. Let's get the ball here, defense.
Touchdown is a scramble.
Everything we work for, boys. Give it all.
Let me see something. Show up. Let's go. Show up.
Go! Score! We got to make some plays now.
No problem. No problem. Good stop. Good stop right there.
Ain't done yet.
No, it ain't over.
We know Mike Evans is excited to get to work out there with Jameis and Bruce Arians, and some rookies and veterans have already started to report to training camp. 5 more teams, the Texans, the Colts, the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Buccaneers send their first-year guys to camp on Sunday. So let's play a little camp counselor. Here's how it works. 60 seconds on the clock. Let's figuratively roast some marshmallows and break down these 5 teams and maybe give some advice for the 2019 season, starting out in the AFC South with Houston. They won the division, so with 60 seconds on the clock for both of you, what's your biggest concern, Mike G, for this team this year?
Sorry, I'm distracted. Colleen Wolfe, who's in the Italian coach,
Riviera.
just sent us a video.
Oh.
Pass defense, okay? 28th ranked pass defense last season. Now, Kareem Jackson, Tyrann Mathieu, they're gone. In come Bradley Roby and Tayshaun Gibson. Matthew signed a big deal with the Chiefs, and you may look at that and say, oh, they lost. I actually think they could be okay in trading off those pieces. I like what Bradley Roby can bring. I like what Tayshaun Gibson can do on the back end. But they need to get better as a unit, because I think that hurt them in the postseason. They need to be better from that standpoint.
Yeah, and that defensive front, that front seven is one of the most dominant front sevens in all of football. They have to work hand in hand with that secondary in order to make sure that pass defense, like you said, is a lot better than it was last year. But for me, it's protecting Deshaun Watson. You know, this dude got beat up last season. It was certain times, you know, through the course of the game that I didn't know how he got up. But if he can get that ball to DeAndre Hopkins and some of those other weapons they have, man, this team can be very, very dangerous. But for me, protect Deshaun Watson.
And he got sacked 62 times. That was no joke. Seeing that, of course, they added offensive linemen 2 in the first 2 rounds. They, of course, add Matt Khalil as well. Question for you. Is some of that on Deshaun, watching the way he plays and getting the ball out a little bit quicker?
Some of it is on him. He has to be more aware of that. But it was sometimes in 3-step drops where he was getting hit. And, you know, that's not on him. But in certain situations, and he'll continue to learn and grow as a quarterback and know kind of when he needs to get out of trouble, when he needs to get down to unnecessary hits, because there's going to be some times where he's not going to be able to avoid them. And so for the ones he can, it's the same thing we should tell Mike Vick and RG all the time. Yeah. Look, they're going to hit you at some point. Let's not let them hit you when we don't want them to hit you. Out of bounds is right there, or get down.
Advice.
Great advice from you. You could be a camp counselor, see?
Hey, I'm trying.
Let's move on to the Colts. Speaking of young kids at camp, this is a young core. It's a healthy franchise quarterback situation there. What do you need to see, D'Angelo, from Indy to consider them elite, not in the division, but in the AFC?
Just to start the way they finished the season. Start with that same attitude. I saw this Colts team play early in the season last year against the Redskins, for a matter of fact, and they looked like world beaters. And then I seen them play other teams, and they looked terrible. And obviously they started 1-5. So this team has to continue to believe that they can win football games and compete. When they go out there and they compete with the energy that they can play with, this team is hard to beat. But like you said, they have a lot of weapons. They just need to, I think, start fast. If they start this season fast, they don't have to get out of that hole. Imagine if this team didn't start 1-5.
Oof. That's a dangerous thing sometimes, because a lot of teams think that they can just snap their fingers and pick up where they left off. I'm thinking of the 49ers from a couple of years ago. Everybody said they closed the season strong. The Bucks did it one year. A lot of times teams come in, they don't pick up. So you got to have the right mentality. I guess just a consistent running game. I mean, I like what they've done in a number of areas. They've had 4 games with 50 or fewer rushing yards, and they had 4 games with 150 or more. Let's see if you can get that and continue it throughout the season.
All right, the defending champion Patriots lost a future Hall of Famer this offseason. We know no Gronk, but what's standing in the way of another postseason run for Brady and Belichick? Some heavy lifting for you, Mike.
No, you're not going to get me to do this. Okay, we did this last year, and we were in the middle of the season, and Brady missed the offseason, and he didn't. Like, where's my bagel? Give me my bagel there, Hammer.
Hamilton.
You know, there's nothing standing in the way. I mean, this team is, forget it. If last year I was supposed to put a 0.
Bad catch. Throw it right here. I got it.
Go ahead. There's a donut.
Gronk would have caught it.
Show him the hands.
Okay.
I'm going to get hit in the head with a bagel here. And it's a stale bagel, so it's going to hurt. There it is. Nothing. Nothing standing in the way.
0?
If last year, no, well, they're getting.
See, I could
props
easily,
for bringing props.
I could easily say 0 as well, but I want to believe in the Jets. I want to believe that the Jets
I love it.
have finally put the right pieces in place to beat New England.
Yes.
And what better time than right now? You know, catch them while they're weak. So we think.
You sounded
or
like
they're getting older.
You sound like a head coach on the first day of training camp.
I do.
What better time than now?
Knowing we have no chance to beat them, but I'm gonna hype all y'all up.
I do think the gap will close this year. He will at some point start to show
really
his
big
age.
gap.
I really do, but I think the Jets have done everything they can, so hopefully they take a huge leap for AFC East kind this year. The Dolphins, lots of questions. New head coach, questions at quarterback. How should Brian Flores handle these next couple of months? Let's just put it to this training camp in regards to Ryan Fitzpatrick, the veteran, and Josh Rosen. Both these guys vying for the starting gig.
I mean, for me, it should be a true quarterback competition. You know, you obviously know what you're going to get with Ryan. I mean, I almost said
Ryan
Fitzmagic. I know, but I was going to say Fitzmagic. But you already know what you're going to get with him. And so the young guy, you want to tend to lean on him. But at the same time, this team needs to learn how to win games. Okay. And they need a leader. And I don't know if Josh Rosen is the leading type. Mm-hmm. He hadn't shown me that a whole lot. I know Ryan Fitzpatrick is that kind of guy. But I would like to see a true quarterback competition, knowing that I want the young guy to play and win. But if he doesn't, we still got a capable veteran.
I would like to see a fake quarterback competition, okay? And I would like to see one where Josh Rosen is basically predetermined that he's going to win it, unless he completely falls on his face. Yeah. Because to me, if you're the Dolphins, you don't want Fitzpatrick to come in and make you a, 6-7 or 6-10, 7-9 type team, because you'd rather have a better draft pick if you're not going to be in the playoffs anyway. And so with Rosen, if he doesn't play well, that'll get you a better draft pick, a better draft positioning next year. If he does play well, hey, we've got a quarterback solution in-house already. We don't have to look at it. And now we can use all those draft picks on the rest of the roster.
The buzzer happened like 20 seconds ago. I feel like the camp counselor that lets you eat a ton of candy and go to sleep late or not sleep at all because rules aren't a thing in this camp.
Yeah.
I will ask you, I'm reading between the lines and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I've heard you talk about Rosen a couple of times this week and spending some hours with you.
Yeah.
And the question for you seems to be winning over that locker room.
Yeah.
Give him advice. What can he do to win over the locker room?
Josh, you just rubbed me the wrong way from the moment you came out as into the draft last year. It was just little subtle things you said through the course of interviews. I was that same kind of guy. I was brash. I was outspoken. I did things that probably rubbed guys the wrong way. And I had to overcome a lot of just stereotypes when I walked into different locker rooms, especially as I started getting traded. You're in a very, very unique situation. You're a young player who's on his second team in his second year. Going there as a humbled, well-mannered teammate, I should say. Listen to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Even though there might be situations where he might not be telling you exactly what you think is right, just listen to him and humble yourself, man. I think you have the talent to play in this league. I just don't know if he has the filter to play in this league, because when you get to start talking a whole lot, like the expectations I felt like he set for himself last year coming into the draft were very, very high. And then you see you see the level of play that he, showed you on the field, and it's like, look, man, before you start talking in this league, guys want to see you play. And having had that situation in Arizona, now he's in Miami. Let's see how those guys respond to him.
He got, a couple of coordinators there. He never got his feet underneath him with Mike McCoy, and then Byron Leftwich comes in, and now you got a third coordinator now.
And three.
It's a tough spot, and it can ruin guys.
Guys don't to win the locker room. Huh? Find the way to win the locker room, right?
Win the locker room and you win the
locker room and win your freedom. That's what they said in Gladiator.
There we go. I was like, where did that come from? I have seen Gladiator. No top.
Win the people.
I haven't seen Howard the Duck, but Gladiator I have seen. Finally, last but not least, we have 1 minute left. We will stick to that minute to talk about Tampa Bay. If the Bucs get a bounce-back season from Jameis Winston, if all breaks right, will that be enough to hang with the stacked division?
Yes, I believe in the Bucs. I don't necessarily believe in Jameis Winston. I believe in the Bucs. But if Jameis can be the guy that cuts down his mistakes and cuts the ball loose at times. When there's guys open down the field, being able to identify it, being able to hit that guy. Bruce Arians is going to call a number of those shots. No risk it, no biscuit. You got to be able to connect on that. And if you could do that, I feel like they've got enough talent elsewhere on the roster, and he's got enough weapons at his disposal to make that happen.
Yeah, he has weapons. I think Bruce Arians will definitely get Jameis thinking about some other things that he wasn't thinking about throughout the process of playing the quarterback position. That's kind of what B.A. is able to do as a coach, that people love him because he is kind of like a quarterback whisperer. But I just think the division is so stacked. You know, when you think about what the Falcons can possibly do if they're healthy, if Cam's healthy with that shoulder, Drew Brees and those guys down in New Orleans,